the difference between like the way you train opposed, like what have you learned throughout training? What have you changed to kind of get the size and shape that you're at now? Is it just being time, or have you changed the way you train? Are you failing? You moving forward?
So years ago, I would train like super high volume. I would go in the gym with no plan.
You used to train high volume, did you?
Yeah. So years ago, I used to do like a lot more sets. Would try to do 10 sets of 10. I'd do giant sets. I would do all these different things.
How long were your workouts going for?
I mean, those workouts would probably be over an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours, but once I started, when I linked up with John Quint, he changed my training. He's my best friend.
How long ago was this?
So I met John Quint at a bodybuilding show. We competed against each other. He was a super heavyweight and I was a heavyweight back in 2013. I remember I walked up to him and he was massive. And I was like, I remember I poked his shoulder and I was like, bro, how do I look like that? How do I get shoulders like that? And he just gave me this scowl look and I was like, okay, I'm gonna talk to this guy. And then like a couple months later, he hits me up on Facebook. He does like ART and all this stuff back then. And
what's ART?
So it's like active release therapy. So he did like body work and stuff on you. Gotcha. So I would drive up, it would take me like, I don't know, 45 minutes to drive up to this guy and he'd work on me like every week or every couple weeks. And he kept asking me to train. And I was like, bro, I'm not going to drive all the way up here and train. I should have started training with him earlier because, dude, once I started training with this guy, I got linked up with Westside Barbell and Tom Berry, and they were showing me actually how to deadlift, and I would learn about bands and accommodating resistance and all these things. I was telling you earlier about the reverse hyper and doing all that type of training. Like, it just transformed my physique, and then we started doing more lower volume training. So we started condensing the days of training into like 3 or 4 days a week, and then we started incorporating a lot of like mobility type of training. So we're doing like pails and rails, like isometrics at the joint level to create more space, like I was mentioning earlier. So like the more space you have, the more access to stuff that you have, some more tissues that you can train.
This is interesting stuff.
Yeah. So
no one's talking about this, right?
No, because no one knows what they're doing.
Yeah. No, that's super interesting.
Yeah. So it's like, when everybody talks about progressive overload and all this other stuff, if you can do joint isometrics and create more space and you have more access to more stuff, you don't need to train heavier every week.
What does that mean exactly?
So
the most layman's terms.
So if you have more range of motion in tissue, you can train more tissues. You know what I mean? So if you can't
recruit more fibers in a way.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. Okay. So if you can't train it there, then you can't train it there to grow it. You know what I mean? Like, you can only grow with what you have access to.
So give me an example of something that you've done that's led to.
So like training like internal and external rotation of the shoulder.
Okay.
So if you're doing isometrics, there's different ways. Like there's what is the class called? Ken Stretch. Ken Stretch is part of the FRS program. So it's like doing the isometrics at low levels. You can do them low intensity, high intensity, meaning like shorter duration at a higher intensity would be like a high intensity joint isometric, or if you do like a low intensity one, so if like a 60-second hold at like a 30% intensity, would be a low intensity set.
Interesting.
So it's just like with your training. So if you're just doing these different things and you're going to create more space, then you're going to have access to more stuff to train. So you don't have to go heavier 5 pounds each week on training. So it's like, have you ever noticed if you're doing like bench press for so many weeks and you start to get weaker at an exercise on the bench press? So you're accommodating, or you're plateauing. So in order to surpass that, that's why we do different types of training. So if you wave your training up and then you pull back, you do a deload week. So you're not going to go heavier each week on every exercise.
Okay.
You gotta wave your training.
It's getting crazy scientific, right?
Yeah,
like the evolve of it, like the evolution of bodybuilding is changing dramatically.
Yeah, I used to be going there and just do, what Arnold said to do all these 30 sets
ridiculous,
and train for 5 hours and all this stuff. And
so you going 4 days a week?
Right now I'm only doing 3 days a week. So I just do like a push day, a pull day, and a leg day, and then usually like I'll bump it up to 4. I'll do like a chest day, a back day, a leg day, and then like a shoulder and arm day.
And how long are your sessions going for?
Like 30 or 40 minutes.
Wow. Yeah. That's insane.
Yeah, you just got to do what you got to do.
That's so cool.
Yeah.